All right, so the coin we're covering once again today is Algorand, which compared to the rest of the market today is not looking too terribly shabby. Currently, we're sitting at $1.68, a lot further down than when we were last week. But over the last 24 hours, roughly flat, up almost 1%. The market cap has dipped below 10 billion once again to 9.4 billion dollars, which last week we were at $2.54. So, you can look at the current price as very much on sale this week in a bargain, or be completely panicked, hair on fire, like the rest of the market. Over the flash crashes and random Chinese real estate firms that got way too over leveraged that ultimately have nothing to do with Algorand's fundamentals or its future or really even the crypto market in general. And despite the amazing work Silvio and the team are doing, or even the recent traction and huge additional investments into Algo's ecosystem, where the broader crypto market and Bitcoin go, Algo will continue to follow. And where the TradFi or traditional finance market goes, the entire crypto market will follow. So this is a pattern that we should be, used to by now. But none of that should deter or scare anyone away from solid projects like an Algorand, for example. Not financial advice, but the growth of the ecosystem continues on despite what happens in the outside world. Shout out to Jackal in the chat from our live stream on Sunday. He brought up an investor's thesis over on Medium that was really interesting, comparing Algo to Google in its early days. Obviously, it's never fair to compare any company or project to Google, one of the most successful and transformative companies of our lifetime. But the analogy, is somewhat apt in that both Apple or both Algo and Google were first and foremost only focused on the tech and the product and very heads down at a time, when a lot of mania and things were going on. Back then it was Netscape, AOL, and Alta Vista, and they were grabbing all the headlines and spending tons on customer acquisition and growth at all costs. And it was a done deal that those three would be the leaders forever, and they had won and gotten all the market share. While Google was heads down and working on the tech, and in my opinion, Algo, is focused on building the best product and very much heads down, doing things that a lot of other projects aren't even thinking about. And whether it plays out that way or not, who knows? But I thought it was an interesting analogy. But certainly more big investors and players are betting that Algo has at least a shot at that. Just last week, Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch, if you guys are familiar with him, his firm Skybridge Capital announced a $100 million fund focused solely on investing into the Algorand ecosystem. And he's one of the big players that's pushing for a crypto ETF. And his ETF wouldn't specifically be able to invest in specific cryptocurrencies, but investing into the broader market and companies involved in that. So very, very interesting and huge amount of money that will be flowing into the ecosystem soon. And this, of course, follows Michael Arrington, Arrington Capital's recent $300 million investment into the Algorand ecosystem. So just those two guys alone, that's $400 million just being plowed into growing Algorand for the future, which I think is just hugely bullish. And the work that they're doing is just leaps and bounds ahead of what a lot of projects are even thinking about. The work that they're doing around quantum resistance and being prepared for that in the future is just something you don't see any other projects doing right now. And I think we're seeing a lot of traction in tokenized real estate, DeFi, and certainly getting some early DeFi traction. And I think both of those markets are hugely important. But I think NFTs could really be the big next catalyst for Algorand in the next couple quarters. There was the Italian firm SAIE. They uploaded 4.5 million NFTs to Algorand, and that cost them in fees only $9,318, which they were saying if they were doing that on OpenSea or on Ethereum, that would have cost them just over $180 million. So the use case for NFTs is huge there. We've seen comparisons with Solana. Solana had a huge growth in NFTs, and that really kickstarted their whole growth. And I think we're going to probably see something very similar with Algorand in the future with the work they're doing there. But today, yeah, very much a fundamental stream or podcast. It's one of those days where The market's just getting clobbered, and you want to keep an eye out for these projects that have good fundamentals, that will be here for the long term, that do have the capital behind them to get them through these markets. Not saying that we're going to turn into a bear market anytime soon, but you need to be, you need to be thinking about, what's going to keep this ecosystem going into the future. And when you have so much money being, put to work within this ecosystem, you can bet, fingers crossed, most likely Algorand will be around for quite some time, and a lot of really smart minds and really smart investors are preparing for that future. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the broader market, dumpage, and if you guys are, panic selling your Algorand, if you're holding on to it, if you're buying, let me know. And yeah, leave a comment down below, what you guys are doing today, what you guys think of this recent traction from Algorand. And yeah, if you guys are listening on Spotify or iTunes, on the podcast side of things, if you guys could give us a rate and review, that'd be hugely important. Any little bit helps keep this thing going. But yeah, and if you guys want to check out BlockFi, if you use that link below to shill our BlockFi link, if you use that link, you get up to $250 worth of free Bitcoin when you sign up with BlockFi. So yeah, if you want to go stack those Satoshis and ETH over there right now, I think ETH is 5%, Bitcoin's 4.5%, and USDC is 8%. Hopefully they get Algorand soon. But yeah, anyway, I'll stop babbling at this point. But yeah, overall, kind of a decent day. We're somehow up almost 1%, even though the entire market's completely collapsing on not even terrible news, just kind of news. But anyway, I'm going to stop babbling. We're trying to keep these under 5 minutes, and now I'm over almost 7 minutes. Oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna bye.